Do you want to talk about Battlefield or?
Yeah, I think it's worth talking about it
Okay,
because
I'll pull up some
it was big
footage.
enough.
What are your current thoughts on that? Because you did in the newsletter. We have a. I can pull that up if you want me to. Just
Mhm.
you let me know where you want me to go.
Yeah, I think the numbers first. So it went up to, I think, 520,000 concurrent players on Steam, which is remarkable. It's a free beta, obviously, but still, I think it, yeah, as they say, it beat Call of Duty highest number ever on Steam. It's not that surprising because Battlefield has always been more of a PC title than Call of Duty. Um, so it's reassuring, I would say, for the brand that there was that hype. I'm not sure I understand why there were so many logging queues, but at some point I had like 250 waiting out in the line. I was 250,000 player waiting in the line. It's somewhere somehow one was surprised by these high numbers. Uh, it didn't make too much fuss, but I hope they ramped up for the second weekend of beta that's starting on Friday. So I would say technically everything was rather fine. I didn't let that much crash or things like that. I don't read people complaining neither about the technical part of the game, which is already a big win compared to previous title,
Yep,
the most
yep.
recent titles. So um, there are a lot of things that are being done right, I think, about the title. I think also the pricing being not above others and being in the market remove all the conversation about pricing because you want to talk about your game. I think there is a bit of player seems to be happy. I would say Battlefield 4 and 3 player seems to be happy about the game. I think destruction is back in a way more meaningful way than 2042, which is good because it's one of the brand value. I mean, Battlefield is destruction. Call of Duty, there's no destruction. Battlefield, there's destruction. Um, I don't know. It something feels right about the game. Something feel right about the UI. I remember in games like Battlefront or previous Battlefield, recent Battlefield, it felt like something was off or the buttons were not working or the quality of life was very poor in some of recent Battlefield. And here, I think there is a lot of quality of life improvements. The fact that you don't need the EA app also, EA desktop app on PC, a lot is frictionless, which is what they need, right? For a multiplayer game, live service game, you need frictionless um, for the player. So I don't know. It's fun to play. I think I've played a lot of Call of Duty in the last 2 or 3 years, like many hours, and it's I feel Call of Duty is more of a lone wolf type of game. You can play with friends, but I think you can have a great experience alone because when there is only 12 people in a game, you can make an impact. But if there are 64 people in a game, you cannot make an impact if you're alone. So I think it really shows how important it is to have a good squad and mostly to have people you know and you can talk to and discuss with during the game. I still think that from a communication standpoint, it's better to use Discord or other external tools than to use the in-game chat, voice chat, and communication systems. So maybe that's something to improve, but is it really needed when everybody has Discord and maybe other communication ways? Maybe not a priority. I think I would prioritize the gameplay rather than the communication system. Um, but yeah, maps, interesting weapons. You feel that there is a lot of ex Call of Duty people in the team now. You see the weapon progression, the attachment. But at the same time, I had not played the latest final version of Battlefield 2042, which is probably not. It's certainly not as barebone as it was in the at launch. So I played at launch, but not that much afterwards. So I think the latest evolution of Battlefield already looked like quite like Call of Duty, and now we have this more polished beta version. It's interesting. The video is the map that we have not seen yet. Is the map in New York City? I think. No, is it? Oh
No,
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 no.
this feels like Middle East, what we're looking at right
Yeah,
now.
no, no, right. But I don't remember this part of the map. No, you're right. Why do I feel like it was New York?
It
But
does
maybe
look a bit familiar-ish.
it's Cairo, the Cairo map.
Okay. Oh, Cairo. Okay, got it, got it, got
Yeah,
it.
yeah. And I don't remember so much of verticality in the demo. I don't remember being able to access roofs and things like that. But maybe I I didn't
That
went
was,
on the
yeah,
right place. I was not like hiding on the roofs and doing stuff like that. Um,
pros will always find a way.
yeah. So all in all, good experience. It's good, and I think the reason I put this quote from the ex Blizzard guy, it's
Yeah,
really
let's pull that
Call
up.
of Duty has been left without competition for so many years. That is probably going to be some reality check for them when Battlefield is released, and they better have a good one, have a good Battlefield. Sorry, Call of Duty this year. The problem is that it's the direct follow up of Black Ops 6, which means probably they had the same approach as they had with Modern Warfare 3. Some unused content from the previous one they're reusing, they're rebundling, and they're making a glorified DLC as a full game. But we'll see about that. But yeah,
This is more or less a repeat of Battlefield 1 in terms of Call of Duty's been doing the same kind of
yeah,
thing for a while,
yeah.
and then here comes, Battlefield with the big, shiny, completely different type of thing.
And I think but the last Battlefield was many years ago. I think that's one of the longest hiatus.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
there is appetite, okay, and there is it's still a very famous brand. Will it capture the younger audience? That's still to be proven. The Fortnite audience maybe not, but the Call of Duty audience absolutely yes. So there is it's good because what it means usually when competition increases that the quality also increases, which is
Yeah.
always good for players.
Well, I
So
mean, this is by the way, this is interesting. Now we're seeing robots again back in and last time they had a lot of robots and a lot of like
yeah,
sci-fi. We know how that went.
yeah, I think so. Battlefield 1 was against Infinite Warfare, which was even more futuristic than this one. This one looks more like Advanced Warfare. So yeah, but it will be interesting to follow. And this time, EA is not releasing Titanfall 3 or something like that at the same time.
Oh yeah.
They might have a shot actually at being more successful. Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's
How
all down to will it be broken at launch or not? You know, it's right now it's all down to that, and I think the team is really probably focusing on that, making okay, being surgical about the content as long as I think the title is not broken at launch. I think that's super important. The other thing I wanted to say is that I'm impressed by the visuals in relation to the hardware. I think it's running very well on average specs. Computer, I mean, console is another story. But I've also not seen anyone complaining about the game not being great visually. And yeah, they've lowered the entry barrier from a technical standpoint, which is always great because it allows them to reach some markets like China or like Eastern Asia or even South America, where we know that the PC specs on average are lower in the population. So yeah, I think it's ticking a lot of boxes right now, which is great. Which is great for the industry because I think we industry needs Battlefield. Otherwise, it's getting boring just with Call of Duty.
absolutely. How much did you play, by the way?
I ended up level 16 or something like that
Oh,
out of 20. Not so much because I didn't always have friends online. And also because I had other stuff to do. Yeah, the only thing I would say is when you ask player to download 30, 40, 50 gigabytes, just it's very short beta in terms of duration.
got
It
it.
was 2 days for the fully open beta and 4 days if you had the code. So I think
Well,
that I would say. I would have usually maybe they will do that next weekend where we've decided to extend the beta by one day and keep the Monday online. See what happens. Like surprise, one more day of beta.
so I have to ask you, if there are three things, like major takeaways for you,
Mm-hmm.
you playing the game,
Mm-hmm.
what are the three things that stood out to you? Number one.
Destruction is really playful. I really like, and even with like some basic weapons, you can destroy stuff. So I really like that. Second one is the FPS, the number of FPS you can achieve with very good visuals on an average rig. I think it's really good. So there's been a lot of, they probably had to make some choices, but I think ultimately I'm also surprised it's the Frostbite engine, because it runs rather smooth, and that put into perspective all the problem players might have with the Unreal Engine recently, where it's just the one everybody's going to, but there are still the same issues over and over across many games. So I don't know. There is a world where maybe Frostbite could become used more, maybe outside of EA. Who knows? And finally, I just
Is the gameplay tight, maybe? Or
yeah, gameplay was. I don't feel like I was as good at playing Battlefield as I am in Call of Duty. I like the TTK, so the time to kill, which is a bit shorter than usual on Battlefield, but I like it because I'm a fan of hardcore mode on Call of Duty. So one bullet kill. So I hope they will bring some kind of hardcore mode against in Battlefield, because I'm usually very fast to react, but I don't have an amazing aim. So shooting 5 bullets in the same person is more challenging for me.
yeah, historically speaking, it never felt good enough to shoot people back in the day in Battlefield 4
Mm-hmm.
specifically. And there was always this, like, when you shoot a rocket at an airplane, there was always this small delay of nothing happens and then it explodes. So I think, to your point, I played very short, like, session, maybe like a half an hour,
Mm-hmm.
and it did feel a bit faster, to your point. But also, I felt like the movement was different from Call of Duty. It didn't feel Call of Duty esque. I felt heavier. I felt like a soldier. So that
Mm-hmm.
was great, in my opinion, and a distinction for them versus Call of Duty. And my squad is sold at this point, and we're all going to
Yeah.
jump in. Hopefully, the game at launch. Do
Mm-hmm.
we know, by the way, when the launch is? I need to check this out.
Yeah, sure. Beginning of October, like 8 or 10, something like that.
Let me help you. October 10th.
Yeah.
So this is prior to Call of Duty.
Yeah, absolutely. And what is incredible in this industry and with this audience is that I see people convinced and, I'm pre-ordering, and they are committing right now. After all that happened with the two previous Battlefield, I find it incredible how people can be can have short
It's been a
memory.
while, Manu. It's been like 3 years. What was 2042?
Yeah, but it's like it's a free pass for publisher and for developer each time. The players, they complain that games are broken at launch, but every time they seem to forget that the previous one was broken. So I don't know. We kind of the audience is creating some of the issues themselves. Like,
Yes, of course, setting themselves up for failure. But I would say that, so 2042 was released in 2021, so that
uh-huh.
was almost 4 years ago. And I'll add one more thing here. If you've noticed, who is making this game? Battlefield Studios, not
Mhm.
DICE anymore.
Yeah,
And I
absolutely.
think, like, they poured, like, what resources did they not pour into this one, and how much? Like, I feel like, when you look at the budget for Battlefield
Mhm.
6, it's like there's no number, it's infinite. Like, there's like
Yeah,
an infinite sign. Just go,
yeah.
just make something good. And I think rightly so. If they do come out, and they are coming out swinging, obviously. Um, and to your point as well, with the beta and the waiting line. I think that is like deliberate to make sure that things are not breaking or not like
Mhm.
uh,
Could be. Yeah, absolutely. Ramping up the capacities and the server
absolutely,
capacity.
absolutely.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I've
I
worked
mean,
with a lot of these people on the DevOps side. They're smart people.
a long time ago, betas were to test games and to
Sure.
test
Yeah.
server capacity and stuff like that. Now it has become more of a marketing tool with the years. But yeah, it's at least this time the beta is 2 months before launch, so they can probably adjust some of the things. But it doesn't feel like from a gameplay standpoint a lot needs to be adjusted. I remember the first alpha and beta of Battlefield 5 and Battlefield 2042. Like, they were nowhere basically, and here it doesn't feel like there is so much more to do from a gameplay perspective, and what has been shown is great, and it's just about will there be enough of these good maps at launch.
Well,
And the mod you don't need. I don't think they need to reinvent the wheel at this point in terms of mods. We
I
know.
want to read about this. I mean, speaking of maps and modes,
Mhm.
I I've
Yeah.
always had a problem with thinking that Battlefield had too much content and unfocused content.
Hmm.
But I would love to hear your thoughts here. I'm trying to find how many modes there are.
Not
Obviously, you
too
have
many. I think eight, maybe maximum
so Conquest, Breakthrough, and Rush, and then there's
at least. Yeah, King
Fabrication,
of the Hill, Domination.
Domination.
Yeah.
Um, so that's five. What we can
Hmm.
read here.
Yeah.
And then from a map perspective, I think we already spoke about this. One,
Yeah. Last time.
two,
Yeah.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, that's nice. I think
Hmm.
that's I might have had a different opinion last week, but I think
Yeah.
9 is okay. On
Yeah.
top of this, there was you can create your own maps, and then there was I think Portal was still a thing.
Portal is a thing. Yeah, absolutely. I think Portal is also the way to say here is the new Battlefield Studio content for this edition, but you can just basically have access to everything you want from previous Battlefield in Portal, or you will, and you can just tweak that. I think as and I said probably numerous times, Portal is a bit the equivalent of a modding community. I mean, it's a
Yeah,
framework for modding, and I think that's where the creativity will come. And hopefully, this will be a leeway for future official experience in Battlefield.
I've spoken about this in private, but also I might have done it here as well. I think one of the things that kind of killed Battlefield for me, historically speaking, is um, the community was managing itself for a very
Hmm.
long time in the form of you can just go buy a server and have it running, and you can change the settings, and there was a moment where they removed that completely and said no, 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 we're going to manage that internally. um,
Hmm.
I hope with the map creation tool that is brought back where
Hmm.
people can actually, because the most fun I've had in a Battlefield sometimes is just like I go to a server with 4 or 5 people on this huge map,
Hmm.
and we hang out in our own corners with our own tanks and just shoot each other.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
from
It's World of
yeah.
Tank.
And I feel
World of
like yes,
Tank.
exactly. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Hmm.
And I just feel like that was taken away. It was taken away from the community
Oh, yeah,
where I cannot have control anymore over
absolutely.
my experience.
Or you had these crazy metro servers with like I don't know infinite ticks. Uh, yeah,
And just throwing grenades through the
yeah,
hallway.
yeah,
Yeah.
or like the no grenade servers or things like that. So that's also what made it successful, and I think it all disappeared first when they removed the server browser in Battlefield 1. They also removed the app. They removed there are many things that customization tools that were removed, gameplay customization tools that were removed, and finally they realized that it's part of the brand.
Imagine, imagine if Battlefield becomes Fortnite-ish, and let me
Mm,
explain. What I mean by that is because the community can make their own modes and maps and these things, I'm sure somebody will create something that the community will latch into, and it becomes maybe the new big thing that happens in Battlefield. And I want to take a parallel to Half-Life 2
Mm-hmm.
25 years ago. Now, Half-Life 2 multiplayer wasn't necessarily the most popular multiplayer at the time because people played Half-Life for the single player, but the multiplayer was amazing from a gameplay perspective. But there were two maps that were created by the community. One was just a big warehouse, and that's it. And there were weapons randomly. And
Yeah.
then, with the gravity gun and the balls that fall, I forgot the name of the balls that kill you instantly. You were just like having this warehouse with a bunch of balls, like bouncing
Yeah.
all over the place. And if you get hit, you die. That was an example of a community created level
Mm-hmm.
25 years ago that became where you want to play with random people.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the opportunity in Battlefield. If they can capture that, if you can let the community decide what content is important, yes, do your stuff. If it's I don't know, the battle passes, the whatever other things you want to monetize.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of battle passes, I'm very curious to hear from you, Manu, what I really liked with what I'm seeing right now. And this
Mm-hmm.
is also the trap that 5 and 2042 went into.
Mm-hmm.
What I like about what I'm seeing right now is I see a military game. It's
Mm-hmm.
it's not overly serious because
Mm-hmm.
it's not Arma, and Battlefield has always been
Yeah. Yeah.
not
Yeah.
Arma. It's not Call of Duty. It's not Arma. It's somewhere in between. There is
Mm-hmm.
some realism. There is some authenticity, but there's also a sandbox where you can go crazy and have fun. But they kind of not necessarily destroyed it, but added some bad taste in people's mouth
Mm-hmm.
because of trying to do these clown related skins that don't really fit the brand. And
Mm-hmm.
so I would love to hear from you. Do you think that would eventually happen? That they will succumb to that, or do you think they can keep that authenticity?
Yeah. I think the true historic audience of Battlefield doesn't really need this skin. Even the Call of Duty audience is pushing back on some of them. Even if you go in a game, you see a lot of Nicki Minaj skins when you are playing. So people are buying that. Okay. Um, I think there is a way to celebrate video games and staying kind of realistic without going into full on uh, influencer way. Why not have a inspired Mass Effect inspired type of gear? That's not it's not completely astronaut or futuristic, but at least there is some color or things like that. Who knows? But I think nobody wants a pink soldier in Battlefield because you will be instantly seen. Um, yeah.
Well, I'll show you something. Like I'll show you this. This is the latest in Call of Duty. I'm sure you might have already seen it.
Mm,
And obviously I love the series. This is American Dad.
huh?
Now, what they're showing on screen is just normal multiplayer, but this is obviously making its way into the Warzone. It's part of the Call of Duty ecosystem.
Yeah.
But it's just so out of place. It's just so um, it makes no sense in my opinion. I mean, it's really cool. Don't get me wrong, but I
Yeah.
just feel like I'm playing this military game, supposedly, obviously,
Hmm.
and there are these wacky characters, both from a cartoon perspective, like an art perspective. They
Yeah.
stand out.
Yeah.
It feels distasteful to what the brand is
Yeah.
and what you're supposed to see in this type of game. But
I
maybe I'm wrong.
I think I would prefer like total conversions like that rather than Jeff skins in normal mode. I prefer like what if they had a cell shading version of Battlefield? Why not? Like in Portal, you have cell shading Battlefield. You see, with I would be probably fine with that. I think it could be interesting, but not just taking IPs and shoveling them into the main game. Yeah.
You know, a game that really did well.
Hmm.
People won't remember this. Metal Gear Solid 4 online
Yeah.
had amazing customization, and it
Hmm.
was very militaristic. So it was very focused on different gear for the soldier. If it's the backpack, if it's the helmet, if it's the small pouches, the
Hmm.
color of your camouflage. It was very militaristic,
Hmm.
super tasteful. it was also exciting to buy or get because it was on the theme. It fit the theme very, very well. And obviously, we know Metal Gear has a lot of wacky stuff happening in it.
Yeah.
But even then, and this was again, it's funny how I always say like 20 years ago, but it felt like it was part of the theme.
Hmm.
It fit the theme. It wasn't
Yeah.
like weird in that way.
Hmm.
And I would love to see that more. And I'll
Hmm.
show you an image. It doesn't necessarily represent everything I'm trying to say here, but I'll show you this image just to give you an understanding of what I would love for Battlefield to do. Hopefully, they do. Um, like imagine the amount of different armies there exist if you want to borrow from the real world.
Uh-huh.
But just in this one image,
Yeah.
if we just take out
Yeah.
Snake, you can see that these soldiers have different patterns of camouflage, different heaviness to their
Hmm.
armor. They have different items, guns, helmets, caps, call it whatever you want. They have these
Hmm.
the vests and all these like small details, the pouches we have on your legs. Uh, Here's what I would love to see, Battlefield go into in relation to monetization. I know that there are people who are going to say this won't work because of monies.
Not
Do you
enough.
think
Not enough of it.
it all comes down to the dollar at the end of the day, unfortunately?
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, but what do you predict here? We'll see.
What you showed basically what the Rainbow Six Siege is doing. Rainbow Six Siege is also about all different factions. I think what was interesting with Battlefield 5 is that you had different countries which allow instantly to have a Japanese equipment skins or American or things like that. Here in this case, you only have two factions. So maybe they could expand to another faction in the live service that would allow that. Yeah, the question is always how can you make a skin so compelling that there is purchase intent, like not 50 shades of green, of camo green, or of
Mhm.
camo gray. So I think that will probably be the challenge in there. But I think there are other ways to monetize than just purely cosmetic things. You can always monetize. I don't know. I
We need
I,
premium. Bring
I
back premium.
Yeah, but again, you don't want to split your audience, but because they will have a free to play experience, they might do something about the premium part of the game. Yes, that's always a possibility. But you don't want to have maps behind a paywall because then. But what I think could work still is this kind of premium subscription in the
Similar
sense that
to
you have
Fortnite.
server priorities
Yeah.
like quality of life improvement, or
And like Fortnite. What about Fortnite? Like where you get like these.
crew, you just get skins and
Yeah.
and coins. I think it pays for your battle pass, yes, but I think the way I see the yeah, I think Fortnite crew is fine for me because I play regularly and I don't have to bother to give my credit card every month for me or for my kids, so I
Yeah.
think it works well. um
I love the pricing, by the way. The pricing is also
yeah,
perfect.
yeah, absolutely. So I think there is probably a leeway for subscription, for some kind of subscription for Battlefield. Yes.
Got it.
Mhm.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I think there is an opportunity there. Um, and
And to
obviously,
be fair, you could basically have nothing and just an icon, but some fans are so fun that they will feel very important if they have the status of a subscriber.
yeah,
Let's
back in
be
the day, you
honest.
had the premium thing on your character.
Yeah, or
Uh,
you get like early access to the new maps. You get that kind of feat.
Boom. You
Yeah,
just solved it. I agree with you completely.
yeah,
Because I do agree 100% about splitting the community should not happen.
yeah.
And it has been, historically speaking, a
Hmm.
problem. But
Hmm.
there is this opportunity. And in my opinion, premium was a subscription. It was just like you paid it one time, right?
Yeah.
Uh,
I see. But yeah, you could pay every expansion. I remember in Battlefield,
yeah, you could. You could.
15 €for just one expansion out of four, or all the expansion. But
But
yeah, I
that
think
was
there is
a headache
something
to
there.
manage, basically.
Yeah, there is something. Just also because you are talking to. Let's not try to let's be honest, the Battlefield audience will never be completely the Roblox or the Fortnite audience. You know? These people, they consume video games in a different way.
However, here's the
Hmm.
funny thing, and we always go back to this.
Hmm.
Let me just check one thing before I say it. So 2013,
Hmm.
Battlefield 4.
Hmm.
If you were 10 years old at that point, now you're almost 22.
Yeah,
And that's a new audience where we might be looking at as well that you might
yeah.
be bringing in.